The way the team structure their attack can be some of the harder things to understand in the game. So this video is going to look at field setup, the concept of mapping, and indeed the importance of remaining reactive and not just going with pre-planned play all the time. Players making good decisions in play. So you can see in this occasion we've got Northampton Saints versus Worcester Warriors. Left-hand side scrum for Northampton on the 50-metre line. And first thing to note, we've got Nairvollo holding the left-hand side of the field. And he's there to try and keep his opposite number, Humphreys, also on that side of the field. Just creates a bit more space for the attack to play into. You'll also notice that we've got Hugard stood in the 9 position. And rather than following around the scrum, he's going to drop into the back foot of the scrum and then join the defensive line. Really clever behaviour, and means that Warriors then have got 4 in their defensive line rather than 3. And they've also got the back row then to come and join them. So as the play then starts, you see that Nairvollo starts to make his way around the back, and he's always an option to pass to. But in essence, Saints just want to hold nice and square, move the ball to the edge, and Warriors just use their drift defence. They also don't compete to this ruck area, which means that they can keep lots of numbers up on their feet. We start to see then a few really key things starting to emerge. So for Saints, they're using a 3-2-2-1 setup. And what that means, they've got 3 forwards in a particular pod, 2 then holding centre field, another 2 then wider, and then their hooker then is holding right wide on the edge. You see from the defence, obviously it's been a scrum and there's been a lot of go forwards, so we've still got some players making their way back onside. So this player then becomes the corner, and the corner is the edge of the organised defence. It's always the place that doesn't attack you and trying to get into the corner. That gives you a good opportunity for go forwards. And the final thing to pick up on here is we've got Dan Bigger in this really shallow position. So he'll slide across the back, and it's a really nice thing that Saints do. Just gives a bit more option and slightly more deception in terms of his support line. So you can see the ruck area is all backs at the minute. So as the play then comes, nice pass up the back and then hit into centre field. So just trying to break up the Worcester defence and trying to get them to fold. Really like the way the Wood and Hill have reacted to get into this ruck area. Incredibly impressed by Collins in this scenario, all the way back. Even from the previous ruck, he got back and was immediately scanned in. So this is the 3rd time at least that he turns his head and scans his way through. And that just means he's aware of what's in front of him. Real nice behaviour. Now on the left-hand side, you can see Saints and 2 set. The ball's unlikely to be going that way. We've started to see where the pod setup starts to work together. 7 and 8 generally working together initially within the pod setup. We've got all backs on this side. That's very intentional again. Trying to get mismatches, trying to get opportunities to attack against the opposition. The D just hold nice and square here. Make one-on-one tackles. Again, very little compete. Keep up numbers up on feet. Now, significantly for Saints, they've got 12, 15 and 13 in this ruck. So they've got limited numbers, and that means now they've got more players up on feet. So there's a lot more attack ready at this point. And I love this J line coming in to support. Angles his way in and then hits outside shoulder. So you can see already the pod numbers have changed from what they were previously. 7, 4 and 6 now were main pod on this occasion, and now a 3-man pod. And then we're starting to see then numbers emerge in. We'll see that Nairvollo's made his way all the way back out to one edge. We've got our hookers made his way back in slightly. And we've also got our 8 then making his way back out towards the edge. So already seeing some movement in their field pattern, and they're nice and reactive. Hutchinson, Malland and Collins work really hard at this point, and they want to get onto the open side. So they've mixed the field up a little bit, but they couldn't remain that side or they'll be in the same situation. So they're now working around, see if they can get a different situation and maybe get some mismatches. But certainly because it's not ready, there's going to be definitely hit up the centre field. So this pod now becomes Dan Bigger at 10. His second row on his inside, and his inside is literally just there as a clean-out option. He's never going to get the ball in an inside angle like that, but there to support the ruck clear. And we've then got his 2 props then on the outside. So 2 strong ball carriers, try and get them some go forwards and some platform to play. And they've always then got an extra player to come up the back. And I think that's a nice feature of this kind of attack. There's always the extra option. There was potential at this point if we're critical of a 5 versus 3. If it could have gone out the back. As the play starts to emerge, you see that there's maybe some logic to that. I love the way the Simmons is really reactive in this point. So they probably would have played at this point. Really good opportunity. But this little disruption around the ruck area, you can see the ball starts to come out free. And Simmons, who's really quick to react, he then sees the opportunity to go and support Reinach. And he actually becomes one of the more important cleaners at that point. So a real nice bit of play. Of course, Reinach is in the ruck at this point. So it then becomes another play he needs to play out. And again, nice feature of a reactive attack is where different players fulfill the role of scrum half and keep the ball playing. So 6 in this occasion is going to play the ball out. It's a good opportunity for Saints. They work their way into a position when they now have their full attack shape. So a mix of backs and forwards. They've got their big strong numbers on the outside, Harrison on the outside, and they've got Nairovola with them, really good pairing. And you see Saints regularly getting those kind of guys together. Ludlam's dropped to the right-hand side where he would normally be in the conventional 1-3-3-1 setup. So 5+1 defence for Saints. So they're just going to literally hold, be really patient and just drift across because they know they're down on numbers. And this corner becomes the important player again. So he's the edge of the organised defence. So the play is fairly inevitable for Saints. So they're going to go out the back and try and get around him. They do really well with it. And just that jockey defence for Worcester does nicely get him out of touch. So 63 metre ground gain, but could it have been better? So if you quickly go back and have a look at just a key moment in there. So as Malander receives, you can see he's got an inside defender. He's also then got another drifting defender. So he's about to pass, but it's so far away from his opponents that it just allows them to slide. If he can get slightly further, get this defender to bite, get this defender to maybe turn his shoulders back in, there's then an opportunity outside. But because he passes, it's just a case of sliding off a really nicely covered inside defenders. Line out 22 for the opposition, so decent ground gain, but could potentially be even more. Hopefully that gives you a good idea as to what field structure might look like, and indeed how during the play the field structure changed constantly. It was never the same. It wasn't the same numbers in each pod, but they played within a framework. It's the same kind of idea where they were trying to mix their backs and forwards together. Generally a 3-man pod if they were hitting contact. If there was a 2-man pod, then you'd always get the man from the inside jumping in. And we saw a couple of good examples of that. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Please do subscribe if you want to see some more of my videos.